Hey, welcome to Friday morning at the Hobo Dojo. Let's take a sip of coffee together, shall we? I love this cup. I love this cup. It is insulated, much better than my old red one that tragically was smashed by my buddy Eugene out on the desert. I had it wrapped up with duct tape for 6 months or so, and finally let go of it, and I got this one. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I know we've all been a little bit upset by this thing going on in Ukraine. I certainly have been. I'll get back to that in a minute. I've written so many things. I've read so many things. I've tried to get meaningful insights about it, and I thought I had a take on it that would be interesting to you all, and I made a video yesterday. And I just looked at it again this morning, and I thought, it's just not good. It just isn't very good. I'm not in my wheelhouse. The ideas don't seem to hold together very well, as much as I thought they did when I was writing it and recording it. And I just decided I would just come online with you guys instead and just say hello and talk briefly about that. But first, I want to let you know that we are having a show tomorrow night. We're back in Hollywood at the Hope Lutheran Church on Melrose at the corner of Mansfield. And we did a show there last month. We did a show there, which went pretty well. We got the live stream up, and we had about 200 people there, I think, through most of our show, which I was very grateful. And some of you were very generous and gave some money to us, and we almost broke even, and we had a lot of people to pay because we had a crew and a lot of musicians. And Alexia, my partner that I do these shows with, we don't expect to ever make any money on these shows. We do it for the love of doing it and for the community that it helps to build, and for the fun of it. But we very close to broke even. I think each of us just had a little bit of some of the groceries, for the food that we cooked didn't quite get comped, but everybody got paid and everybody was happy. Everybody else got paid, and that's all because of you guys were generous that way, and we really appreciate it. So I'll have the info below for that. Maybe I'll stick a card up here right now for showing you the flyer. And the info will be down below if any of you wants to come out in person. You will need to contact me first. My email will be below. You'll need to contact me first so that you'll know what streets are okay to park on, because there's a lot of signs on these streets off on the side streets in Hollywood where there's limited restriction here, and you can park here, but only if you have a permit. And anyone who's been to Hollywood knows that. So, but they waive the restrictions on a couple of streets for us, and I'll have to tell you which ones those are if you're going to plan to come in person. Otherwise, enjoy it from wherever you are. We will begin the show at 6:30. I will come up with my friend Paula, who sings with me, and we are going to do a ramshackle version of an old Bob Dylan song that we haven't rehearsed, except we just ran through it a couple of times the other night is all. And so it's just to start the thing while people are coming into the room, and it has a thematic thing that kind of ties in with this sort of release from COVID. It's an old Bob Dylan song. I won't spoil it by telling you what it is. We're going to do that, and then we're going to bring up our friend who I have not met yet, but I'm an admirer of her music, and I've seen a lot of her videos online, and she is a really good singer-songwriter. She's quite young, and her name is Britt Cussero, and she's going to do a half an hour of her songs. I just think she's got this songwriter's gift where it's a little poetic, but not to the place where it begins to feel like too much. And every song says something. And the human concerns in these songs are none of them knock you over the head, but every one of them just feels so well put together that I relate to all of her songs. And I've come from a different walk of life than she does, certainly. But she always gets me right in the heart. So I encourage you to listen to her set. It'll be a half an hour long, and then we will come directly up, because last time the show that we did, we had a big break in the middle, and that was a bad idea. So we will come directly up. And plus, we started the show earlier for the, thinking that that would be good for the people on the East Coast. Not doing that. Just going to have a very compact half an hour set by Britt. And then we will directly come to the stage and we will play right after that, and we'll just rock it on through an hour of our songs. All right. So the whole thing will be like an hour and a half show. So plan to stay up to midnight. If you're on the East Coast, it'll probably be ending that time because we will probably be all over with by, well, we'll probably be all over with by 8:30. So maybe that, what is that? Is that 11:30? I'm bad with math, but 3 hours later if you're on the East Coast. So I hope that you'll join in. I know that we're all thinking about the good people of Ukraine and their young, struggling democracy, which is they're trying to build a free society. They're coming out of a time where there was a lot of corruption there, and they're trying to come to the place where people take them seriously. It's a poor country. It's not well organized in a lot of ways, and they're being hammered by Putin, who is acting like a madman. And what would that be like? You're in your country, and suddenly a guy who has a nuclear arsenal is doing something that seems irrational. He's doing something that's killing a lot of people that seems irrational. What will happen? I don't know. Will his soldiers, will his military revolt and stop doing it? There's reports of soldiers saying, I don't know why we're here. What's going on here? And there's a lot of protests in Russia. I don't know what's going on with this guy. And I'm very surprised that some of my so-called conservative friends who are off down an awful lot of rabbit holes in the last year seem to be rooting for Putin. And, there's, I don't know, man. People went from being conservative to sort of broken. As long as something is conspiratorial and flies in the face of what those damn Democrats are doing, then they're all in on it, whether it makes any sense or not. So it's been very difficult for me. I miss being able to have a community of people. I was very, very blessed to have. I'd go out in public, and oftentimes I would be recognized, and people would want to take a picture with me. And I had a little moment there where I was beloved, and now I am hated. And I get a lot of, like, not death threats, but an awful lot of scolding emails and messages on Facebook and things like that. Almost all of my conservative Facebook friends went anti-vax heavily on me, and because I did not go there with them, they are no longer friends. I told them in no uncertain terms, if you don't want to take a vaccine, that is your right, absolutely. But to try to convince other people who might very well need these vaccines to survive a case of COVID, if you're going to spend all your time doing that, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. So I've unfriended and broken off relationships with dozens of these people. And so my Facebook feed is now virtually a ghost town. So I don't want to get off onto that. But I know that we're all concerned with Ukraine. I know that we're really all concerned with the high inflation that we have right now in this country, and I'm concerned about it. I gassed up my car last night to go pick up a friend at the airport, and it was pretty low, but it wasn't dead empty. Had a gallon and a half in it. It's a 20-gallon tank. I put 18.5 gallons in it, and it cost me $100 even. When I put it in there and I just let it, put the clip on it and let it fill up, it stopped right at $100 even. How are the working poor going to deal with this? I gave up most of my income by deciding to be an honest, good faith, moderate conservative, which I've always been, and not pretend to be other than what I am, and not pander to anybody who I feel is following bad information and doing harm to the conservative movement in general. I decided not to take that route, and it has cost me 3/4 of my income. I'm not saying that in an appeal for money, but I'm just saying I know what it's like to be not really have any money to throw around there. For a little while there, I was making good money, and it was like, what's $100? $100, $70, $80, $100. no worries. But I had to cancel one of my subscriptions. I canceled my Wall Street Journal subscription yesterday because it's $40 a month. I don't know why they won't charge so much, but I got rid of it. And there's a lot of other stuff's going to have to go. And I'm just going to have to dial in and tighten my belt. And right now I'm going to, taking a trip out to Home Depot this morning, and so I was thinking, what else is on the way where I can stop on, so I don't have to make more trips than I need. So we're all going to be struggling with this inflation, and I'm trying very hard to think of it in these terms. Let me just share this with you. This is what we're doing instead of sending soldiers, and instead of sending the kind of ordnance over there that will ramp up this fight. What we're doing instead is we're doing economic sanctions, and we're doing them heavily. And we're in a time now where banking is so intertwined that you can really put some serious hurt on somebody with a computer, with the people who can control that. And so we have put the hurt on Putin, which is going to put even more hurt on us, and it's going to put a lot of hurt on other people. But I think that's what we have to do. I think we have to outgrow the idea of war as a thing where a pissed off leader and a pissed off leader send armies to kill one another because the leaders can't figure out a way to communicate. I think it's outmoded, it's outdated, it's vicious, and most of the people who die are not the people who created those situations. They're just people trying to live their lives, and I don't want to be part of it anymore. And I know there's it's kind of an idea that conservatives are sort of rah. I'll run over there and you try to take the country. I'll shoot you. I got my my AR-15 or whatever, and hey, I get it why you'd want to have an AR-15. And you look at this and you go, okay, I get it, but we're not going to be invaded by Canada anytime soon. And Mexico is, they're sending us an awful lot of people, and sometimes it feels like an invasion, but we are not under the kind of threat that the poor people of Ukraine are under. And it's cold over there. It's 20 degrees at the hottest part of the day, and people are trying to escape with their grandparents and their children, their little babies, and it takes days at the bottleneck of the border trying to get over into Poland. It's really, really rough over there, and they're frightened and they're shocked that they don't know if they'll ever be able to come home. Are they going to live in a refugee camp for the next 5 years? They don't know. And so I know our hearts go out to them, and I made a video that I just didn't think was any good, and so I killed it. And so I haven't had anything up for a while, and I apologize. It's just that I haven't known what to say. I really haven't known what to say. I don't know. I have any expertise in this particular area, really. I'm doing all the reading and learning that I possibly can, trying to know things, and I just don't want to be the guy that just, everything that comes up, I got to jump out and do a video. Sometimes I think it's just better to hold my tongue. So anyway, I'm doing what I can to, build community in Los Angeles, and so I hope some of you will come out to the show, and some of you will watch the show and know that there are people from all different walks of life, and all of them that don't necessarily agree with me, they know where I'm coming from politically, and they accept me and I accept them, and we agree to say, okay, let's work together here. Let's all listen to each other, and let's do projects together. Let's not dehumanize each other. Let's humanize each other. Let's be good to one another, even if we don't agree on every last thing. So I'll see some of you tomorrow night, and some of you will see me. I hope you come that you'll listen in on the show, and if you want to give a small contribution so I can afford to buy another gallon of gas, you'll see the links to do that. So anyway, I appreciate those of you who still click when you see my face for reasons other than just to scold me again. But thanks for hanging in there. the hard edges of the ideologies have gone nuts, and it's time for moderate people, real conservative people who are level-headed and do not go flying off the handle and don't need to run around waving flags every minute and make some kind of circus event out of being a conservative, but are just people who see the world through a conservative lens, can get together with people who don't have to post signs of Black Lives Matter thing and virtue signal on that side of the thing. They don't have to do all of that overt cartoonish thing. They're just good, solid, liberal people. They're of a little bit more liberal mind. These are a little bit more conservative mind. We need to pull together and be America again, a society that was built and focused by our founders with these institutions that enable people who don't see eye to eye to work it out, so that we don't have a situation that lapses into a strongman dictator taking over in order to impose order on the society that splits itself apart through factionalism. So music is a really good way to do that. It's a really good way to do that. I was with my good buddy Dale LeDuc, who played at our last show, and I love Dale, and you know, he's my counterpart in some ways. He's kind of an elder in the community. He has a lot of people that follow him, come to his gigs, and he puts on this open mic every Tuesday night, and there's great musicians come, and really good players, and it's really entertaining, and it's a great place to be. And at the end of the show, we were sitting talking, just the two of us quietly talking, and I said, we're elders now, buddy. We have to admit to the fact that we're old guys now. No, the girls aren't chasing us anymore. And some of the young people are starting to listen to us. So we have to go ahead and not be afraid to lead. And I did this by way of praising him for the leadership he's been showing in the community and his steadfastness. And he agreed. It's we're men of a certain age, and we have to have a dignified way of presenting ourselves, and we have to model good behaviors for the young people that are coming up below us. And this applies to the way that we approach our music, but it also applies to just the way we live as human beings. And so anyway, thanks to those of you who continue to support me in some small way and help me to eke by now that I have a much smaller audience. I'll keep doing this for a while. I'm beginning to build. I'm working on a shed out in the yard, and I'm headed to Home Depot right now to buy some stuff for that. So see you tomorrow night, and I will take some pictures of the shed soon and maybe make a video about how I'm doing that. I'm looking for a way to keep this channel vital while people while things die down, and hopefully I can locate some people that I can once again feel close to. So anyway, talk to you later.
All right, put your hands together for Britt Cussero.
Thank you. This is called Jericho. When the thunder rolled in low, you were dreaming soft and slow. This old ache is one I know. One more mile to Jericho. See, I love with all I am. Never learned to hide my hands. So I stumble more than stay. One more mile to Jericho, just 1 mile to Jericho. And when I get there, they will know my name. For the road is long, but my steps are plain. This old way is weary, so I'll close my eyes, and my heart will heal. 'cause 2 feet have walked before, 2 lives passed or maybe more. Home again from foreign shores, 1 more mile to Jericho. Maybe movement holds the key. If I never stop, I'll never see 1 more face to love than leave. Oh, 1 more mile to Jericho, just 1 mile to Jericho. And when I get there, they will know my name. For the road is long, but my steps are plain. This old way is weary, so I'll close my eyes, and my heart will heal, much to your surprise. And when I get back, I will tell to you how the walls came down when the trumpet blew. This old way is weary, so just close your eyes, and your heart will heal, much to your surprise. Ooh, ooh. Thank you. Thanks, guys. That's available on my latest album called Absolutions, which you can find on iTunes. My name is Britt Cussero, spelled Kusserow, if you want to look that up.